Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 8 Part 65 based on novel. So let's start. This sudden and unexpected turn of events caused everyone to be greatly startled. Even the Lindong trio had stunned faces. Clearly, they were at a loss in the face of this unexpected aid. However, this dazed feeling did not last for long, before shock flitted across Lindong's face. This was because he had sensed a familiar fluctuation from the green dragon claw. It was the green heaven materialized dragon skill. Elder Ching, Lindong exclaimed in a soft voice. He clearly did not expect that the person who had rescued them was actually the green dragon king Ching, whom he had met in the ancient realm. To think that it is him. An amazed look also flashed across little Martin's face. They had only met an image left behind by this Ching back in that realm. Although he had guessed that this ancient expert was perhaps still alive back then, he never imagined that this mysterious expert would actually rescue them. Countless pairs of eyes in unique Devil City were stunned as they gazed at the green dragon claw that had torn a spatial crack in the sky. Expressions of disbelief were revealed on their faces. Just what was Lindong's background? To think that such powerful experts moved to rescue him time and time again. What a powerful ripple. The blue-robed elder watched this scene in a grave manner as he commented in a deep voice. The one who intervened has likely stepped into the reincarnation stage. The fluctuations from the green dragon claw seem to be extremely similar to the green heaven materialized dragon skill that Lindong is practicing. Looks like there is some relationship between them, Ying Xuanzi nodded and commented. However, this person seems to be far away from the eastern Xian region. Although he is powerful, he would likely have difficulty stopping the Qian Yuanzi trio with the power he has left after tearing space and appearing. The blue-robed elder said. He doesn't intend to deal with the Qian Yuanzi trio. He only wishes to allow Lindong's group to leave, Ying Xuanzi spoke after a sharp observation. Lindong is fortunate to have obtained the protection of such an expert. In this way, we will be able to sigh in relief. The blue-robed elder gently nodded when he saw Ying Xuanzi smile as if he had been relieved of a great burden. He was aware that Lindong's group might be able to successfully leave if this was the situation. Who are you? The expressions of the Qian Yuanzi trio turned somewhat gloomy amidst the uproar from the surroundings. They stared at the enormous dragon claw that had appeared from the torn space and shouted in a deep voice. They were really unable to imagine just what ability did a brat, who was only at the 8 Yuan Nirvana stage, had to be able to bring about such a troublesome situation. Ha ha, 3 great sect masters. To have actually went so far against one of the younger generation. Aren't you too narrow-minded? A faint but clear and lively laughter was emitted from the enormous crack. It seemed to have penetrated the restraints of space, before coming out from the crack and resounding across the area. Although I do not know which great being your distinguished self is, it is likely that no one will be able to stop us today. Qian Yuanzi's eyes were somewhat gloomy as he watched the increasing spatial light beams around Lindong's group. If they do not stop this precursor for this teleportation, it was likely that these 3 will really escape today. His face suddenly became frosty when he thought of this, and the 3 of them actually rushed out at the same time. With their sharp eyes, they were naturally able to tell that the person who had intervened was definitely located at an extremely distant place. The latter had used his great ability to tear open space and lend his aid. Such capability was indeed great. If the latter's actual body was present, even the Qian Yuanzi trio would not dare to say that they could defeat him. However, this green dragon claw in front of them was merely the energy that had shuttled through space and descended in this area. Although it was powerful, it did not possess much of a threat towards Qian Yuanzi's group. Would they really be nothing but empty names if they could become the sect masters of the Yuan Gate and dominate the eastern Yuan region? Bang bang! Vast life and death force swept out the moment the 3 of them rushed forward. After which, it directly agglomerated into a 10,000 feet large black-white light ring. The light ring did not pause even for a moment after it was formed. It abruptly shot forward and charged directly at the dragon claw. Rumble. The black-white light ring tore through space, while the enormous dragon claw also whizzed forward abruptly. after which it powerfully smashed into the light ring. Immediately, the entire area shook, as the light ring and dragon claw began to crumble. A cold glint suddenly flashed within Chen Yuan's eyes when he saw this scene. His body moved, and actually penetrated space as it appeared behind the dragon claw. After which, his eyes were ice cold as he looked at the Lindong trio in the formation. However, Chen Yuan had just avoided the dragon claw and was preparing to attack Lindong's group when a green glow suddenly swept downwards from the crack in the sky. It headed straight for Chen Yuan. Humph! Chen Yuan had also sensed the green flash that about to attack him. His eyes faintly flickered, but he did not intend to dodge. Both of his fingers suddenly pressed onto the air. Immediately, a frightening force directly penetrated through the empty space and struck the formation. Bang! The green light ruthlessly smashed into his body when Chen Yuan attacked the formation. Immediately, he was sent flying back. He took a couple of 100 steps backwards in a miserable fashion in the sky, before barely stabilizing his body. Yet, an icy smile appeared on his face. Your formation has already been disturbed by me. If you recklessly teleport, there is a very high chance that you will end up dying. Lindong, I have said that no one will be able to rescue you this time. The expressions of Ying Xuanzi and the Dao sect disciples instantly changed when they heard Chen Yuan's words. Their eyes looked over, and sure enough, they saw that the formation had begun to flicker wildly, while wave after wave of chaotic ripples spread from it. This old piece of trash. Little Martin's face was ugly as he watched this chaotic spatial light beams around him and involuntarily cursed. He knew that this method that Qing Ji had used to tear space and intervene would not last for long. Hence, they would definitely end up in the Yuan Gate's hands if they were to stop the formation. What should we do? Little Martin looked at Lindong and asked. Continue activating the formation. Lindong clenched his teeth and replied. Little Martin nodded heavily. His voice quickly turned dark and cold. The teleportation formation is already unstable. I do not know where we will be teleported to. Lindong, Little Flame, if we are separated, come to Demon Region's Celestial Demon Martin tribe to look for me. At that time, Grandpa Martin will bring an army back here to slaughter the Yuan Gate. Lindong's eyes were scarlet red as he nodded. Today, they had been forced to the point of appearing like dogs which had lost their homes. It would be intolerable if they did not take revenge. Let's go. The spatial light beams on their bodies had finally reached their densest state as they spoke. After which, the bodies of Trio actually began to become distorted. Bang! Little Martin's figure took the lead and exploded within the spatial light beams. Finally, it transformed into silver light that entered the distorted space. Soon after, Little Flame also disappeared in a similar fashion. Everyone in the area watched this scene. From the looks of it, the Lindong trio had still chosen to leave this place even though there was a high chance that they would die during the teleportation. It was just that this caused this entire place to have an additional tragic and hopeless atmosphere. The three of them were ultimately forced to flee in such a miserable fashion in the face of the Yuan Gate's power and oppression. Countless eyes began to gather on the last figure that was about to disappear. After which, they saw the young man cast his scarlet red eyes at Chen Yuan's group. Soon after, a deep beast-like roar resounded across the area. Old dogs of Yuan Gate. I, Lindong, will carve the humiliation that us three brothers have been forced to suffer today in my heart. Just wait, the moment us three brothers return to the Eastern Xian region will be the day that your Yuan Gate will be destroyed. The day that your Yuan Gate will be destroyed. These final words carried a monstrous hatred as they continued to linger in everyone's ears. Bang! As his words faded, Lindong's figure, which was wrapped by spatial light beams, blasted apart. Finally, he quickly entered the distorted space and vanished. Only the roar that was filled with hatred reverberated in the area, causing the entire place to be quiet for a long time. The Chen Yuan trio looked at the spot where the three individuals had vanished with grim faces. Although they were clearly aware that there was a great chance that these people would die during the teleportation, a faint trace of unease had quietly entrenched itself deep within their hearts. This grudge that had been planted today would perhaps ultimately be paid for in blood many years later. The distorted space in the sky gradually returned to its original state. The spatial power that filled the area also gradually started to dissipate, together with the Lindong trio's figures. Although the three of them had vanished, countless pairs of eyes in the entire unique Devil City were still gazing at that spot in a daze. The earth-shaking big battle from before was still causing shockwaves within their minds. No one had expected that today's matter would actually develop in such a manner, all because of a mere 8 Yuan Nirvana stage Dao sect disciple. Not only did the three great sect masters of Yuan Gate and the Dao sect master appear and involve themselves, even a terrifyingly powerful and mysterious expert had also intervened. One would normally be unable to catch even a glimpse of such existences, yet they had continuously showed up because of a mere Lindong today. Moreover, the thing that caused them to be secretly speechless was that even though the three great sect masters of Yuan Gate had gotten involved, they were still unable to retain Lindong's group. The vicious words that the latter had left behind before disappearing might sound like a joke, but not a single person was able to laugh at them. After all, as long as one was not a fool, one would understand just what kind of frightening potential a young man who was able to escape from the hands of the three great Yuan Gate sect masters had. Once such a person was allowed to escape, it would be equivalent to releasing a tiger back into the mountains. Perhaps, when Lindong once again returned to the Eastern Xian region, Yuan Gate would have to pay an extremely painful price because of what they did today. Zhu Tong had already caused Yuan Gate to completely lose its face back then, and this young man called Lindong was even more troublesome to deal with than Zhu Tong. Most importantly, Lindong had escaped from the hands of the three great sect masters. Something that even Zhu Tong was unable to do so back then. From a certain point of view, the danger that Lindong posed clearly surpassed Zhu Tong. That little fellow will not die so easily. In the short span of slightly more than a year, he has actually mastered my green heaven materialized dragon skill to such a level. He has truly not dishonored my name. I am really curious how powerful he will be the next time he returns to the Eastern Xian region. The enormous spatial crack in the sky began to gradually recover at this moment. At the same time, a laughter was emitted from within and rumbled across the area. Who exactly are you? Chen Yuanzi cried out coldly. His expression was gloomy as he stared at the disappearing spatial crack. We will have the opportunity to meet in the future. At that time, I also wish to have a bout with the three of you. Regardless, that little fellow is someone who has obtained my inheritance. If it was not because I am in a distant land now, there is no way I would let the three of you have your way. A clear laughter once again sounded, while that spatial crack also began to completely disappear together with the rumbling laughter. Chen Yuanzi's group had dark expressions as they watched this scene. Not only were they unable to completely resolve the issue, they had instead ended up leaving behind a great threat. At the same time, they had once again soiled their Yuan Gate's reputation. O great sect master, the teleportation formation has already been damaged. Those three fellows are already exhausted and will definitely be unable to withstand the tearing of the spatial teleportation. I believe that there is a very high chance that they will die. Shadong involuntarily gave a flattering smile and said when he saw Chen Yuanzi's gloomy expression. What I want is not merely a very high chance. That brat is no ordinary individual. If he survives, he will definitely be a source of disaster. Chen Yuanzi glanced at Shadong indifferently and said, pass the order to put the Lindong trio on the wanted list. Not just in the Eastern Xian region, spread the wanted order to the other regions as well. Anyone who provides information about them will be able to pick any martial arts from our Yuan Gate. Yuanzi ordered in an eerie tone. Understood. The smile on Shadong's face stiffened slightly. There was some fear on his face as he nodded continuously. I want to see just how long this brat can survive. Ren Yuanzi's silver hair danced, while his eyes were ice cold. That dark and malicious voice of his was just like ice, and caused one's heart to feel a chill. They did not intentionally hide their voices. Hence, it spread all over the place. Immediately, quite a commotion was stirred. It was likely that the reward that the Yuan Gate had offered on the wanted order was quite attractive. A black-clothed young lady suddenly slowly stepped forward amidst the commotion. That exceptionally pretty face of hers was currently somewhat pale. Both of her eyes were filled with a dark and cold aura as they firmly stared at the Chen Yuanzi trio. Ching Tan. Chen Gui hurriedly followed upon seeing this. He anxiously guarded the young lady. If I have the opportunity in this life, I will definitely flatten your Yuan Gate. That black-clothed young lady's eyes stared at the Chen Yuanzi trio under the attention of many pairs of eyes. After which, her icy bone-chilling voice, which contained a hatred that could not be removed, spread across the sky. Looks like you also have quite a deep relationship with that brat. In that case, Shadong, capture her. Ren Yuanzi knitted his brows slightly and quickly spoke in an impatient manner. Understood. Shadong nodded immediately upon hearing this. His body rushed forward as he grabbed at Ching Tan. At the same time, he laughed coldly. What a foolish girl. All you had to do was to obediently pull back to the side at this moment. Yet, you actually dare to appear and state your connection to that brat. You are truly an ignorant fool. Chen Gui's expression immediately sunk when he saw Shadong move. Just as he was about to pull Ching Tan and withdraw, he was pushed aside by the latter. After which, she stood in the sky without any intention of avoiding, allowing Shadong's attack to land on her. Ching Tan. Chen Gui's expression changed drastically upon seeing this. However, just as Shadong had reached the area a dozen feet from Ching Tan, the space above the latter's head suddenly split open. After which, a black light beam shot out and ruthlessly smashed into Shadong's body. Bang! A deep sound echoed. After which, countless people saw Shadong falling from the sky like a bird with broken wings, before crashing miserably onto the ground. Fresh blood wildly spluttered from his mouth, making him look extremely miserable. This sudden and unexpected change once again caused many people to be stunned. Was it still not over? This fluctuation. The Chen Yuanzi trio's pupils contracted because of this. Immediately, they stared at the crack that had appeared in the sky. They spoke with a pause between every word. Master of Darkness Palace? Chen Yuanzi, I have searched for hundreds of years in order to find such a perfect and precious disciple. If anything happens to her, your Yuan Gate can wait for my Darkness Palace to declare war. A faint raspy laughter was emitted from the spatial crack. Finally, a black light whizzed out from it. The light turned into a skinny black-robed elder with a black crown on his head. When the elder stood in the sky immediately darkened. All light above his head disappeared. Such darkness was so pure that it made fear rise in one's heart. It is the Master of Darkness Palace from the northern Xian region, Bo Xian. The moment this black-robed elder appeared, waves of shocked exclamations emerged in the area. Clearly, he was also extremely well known. So she is the Palace Master's disciple. Our Yuan Gate will naturally not dare to slight her at all if we had known this earlier. Our Yuan Gate was a little reckless in the previous matter. Chen Yuanzi stared at the black-robed elder as his pupils contracted slightly for a moment. Soon after, he laughed faintly. Although this black-robed elder was also at the samsara stage, he possessed the darkness ancestral symbol. Such power was overwhelming and unfathomable. Therefore, even Chen Yuanzi was extremely wary of him. The black-robed elder smiled in a non-committal manner. After which, he turned his head and looked at the young lady behind him. He asked, "Are you coming back with me? Since you are here, why didn't you intervene?" Ching Tan stared at Bo Xian as she bit her lip and questioned. Your big brother has extraordinary potential. At the same time, he also possessed the devouring ancestral symbol. He will definitely be no pond fish in the future. Today's incident is a form of training for him. In order to become a truly powerful expert, such experiences are absolutely necessary. The Tao sect might be good, but it does not suit him. The peace in that place will erode his sharp edge. Only the wider world outside will be able to accommodate him, Bo Xian laughed. Ching Tan's hand was slowly clenched tightly. Soon after, she declared in a soft voice, "Take me to the Darkness Law Court once we return." Have you made your decision? Bo Xian's black eyes quickly revealed a joyful expression when he heard this. He had spent a great deal of effort in order to allow this disciple that he was most pleased with to inherit his mantle. I have said before that I will flatten the Yuan Gate in my lifetime. Ching Tan's gaze once again turned towards Qian Yuan's group in the distance, but her voice had become unusually soft, while the expressions of the Qian Yuanzi trio became a little gloomy. Once you become the master of Darkness Palace, you will be the new queen. Everything will be as you desire. No one will be able to stop you, including myself. Bo Xian rubbed the young lady's head and said, "Thank you, master." The young lady's ice-cold eyes finally revealed some warmth as she softly said, "Let's go. Return with master." Bo Xian smiled and nodded. With a wave of his sleeve, a dark crack once again appeared at his side. Soon after, black light wrapped around Ching Tan and Chen Gui. After which, they ignored everyone as they flew into the crack and disappeared. It is unexpected that the little girl is actually Bo Xian's favorite disciple. The blue-robed elder gazed at where the crack had disappeared as he softly sighed and said, "Since that little girl can enter the Darkness Judgment Hall, it is likely that she will become the master of Darkness Palace." Yuan Gate has ended up attracting quite a lot of trouble this time. Ying Xuanzi nodded slightly. His eyes were a little desolate. Although the outcome today was not the worst, it was not considered too good either from his point of view. After all, Lin Dong had been forced to leave. Ying Xiaoxiao looked at Ying Xuanzi's expression and sighed. Soon after, she lowered her head slightly and saw that the young lady in her embrace had already opened her eyes since an unknown time. "You're awake?" Ying Xiaoxiao hurriedly asked in a concerned manner when she saw this. However, those originally lively and beautiful large eyes of the young lady lacked some focus in the face of this question. It was a long while later before she slowly nodded. "Has he left?" Ying Xiaoxiao could only nod her head in response to Ying Huanhuan's somewhat empty voice. She forcefully smiled and said, "However, he should be fine. That fellow always seems to be rather lucky." Ying Huanhuan silently nodded. She lifted her head to glance at Ying Xuanzi before turning away. "If he dies, I will avenge him." The young lady turned around and flew away. Her fine black hair seemed to flow like a waterfall. Under the rays of the sun, the tips of her hair faintly flickered with an icy blue light. Ying Xuanzi watched as the slim and pretty figure of the young lady disappeared into the distance alone. His face was somewhat dull. The eyes which the young lady had used to look at him earlier was filled with disappointment. "Did I really make a mistake?" Ying Xuanzi muttered bitterly. That originally handsome face of his seemed to be much older than before. He had sacrificed too much for this sect. His most important disciple had been killed by Yuan Gate, but he was unable to take revenge. Now, even his own daughter was disappointed with him. Father Huan is only throwing a small tantrum. It should be over soon. Ying Xiaoxiao felt a slight sour feeling in her heart as she consoled him. Ying Xuanzi bitterly shook his head. He was after all no ordinary individual. Hence, he quickly steadied his mind and said, "Dispatch someone to the Great Yan Empire and inform the Lin clan of this matter. After which, send someone to protect his family." "Yes." Ying Xiaoxiao nodded. "Let's go. Return to the sect." Ying Xuanzi once again laughed bitterly. He no longer had any intention of remaining as he waved his hand, turned around and left. After which, the numerous Dao sect disciples also silently followed behind. So it has concluded in this manner. The beautiful woman on a pavilion within unique Devil City watched, as the various parties in the sky gradually scattered, while she softly sighed. The matter today would likely very quickly spread throughout the eastern Xian region. At that time, the name Lin Dong would perhaps be known by everyone. "He will return." A soft voice suddenly sounded beside the beautiful woman. She was momentarily startled as she turned her head to look at Ling Qingshu. After which, the latter removed her veil, revealing that extremely beautiful face that could bring about the downfall of nations and cities. She smiled, enchanting all living creatures in the process. "He will return. At that time, Yuan Gate will also regret their actions today." She clearly understood just how frightening the toughness and willpower of that young man was. He had walked from that small low-rank empire to this eastern Xian region. What he had sacrificed was something that no one could imagine. Ling Qingzhu lifted her head. She looked in the direction where Lin Dong had disappeared, as her red lips pursed slightly. Her eyes were deep and beautiful. You will definitely return to the Eastern Xian region like a king. At that time, if you really want me to be your woman, why not? Lin Dong, live well. After that, come back. This video will end here.